So I want you to think of the person in your life whose respect you crave the most. Whether it's a boss, a romantic partner, or even just like a social circle you really want to break into.
Right.
Now, realize this incredibly uncomfortable truth. They probably answer your text messages slower than anyone else you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Today, we're really getting into the brutal economics of human interaction. Like, if you are constantly being interrupted when you speak, or if people cancel plans on you at the absolute last minute,
Yeah.
or, if you're always the one doing favors with literally nothing in return, you need to pay very close attention to this video.
Exactly, because it's not random.
Right. By the end of this cinematic journey, you are going to learn the dark psychology of human value. You'll know exactly how to stop subconsciously signaling to the world that you are cheap,
Mhm.
how to artificially manufacture scarcity, and honestly, most importantly, how to force the world to respect your worth.
Yeah, and it's a harsh reality to face, but we really have to establish the baseline here. People don't disrespect you because they're inherently malicious or just terrible people.
Okay, then why do they do it?
They do it because you've subconsciously signaled to them through like 1,000 tiny daily behaviors that your value is low. You
Wow.
know, you've signaled that you're abundant, that you're incredibly easy to acquire, and that you're absolutely terrified of losing them. And when you operate from that place of fear, you basically put yourself on the clearance rack.
Yeah, that's rough to hear.
But today, we are tearing off that price tag.
I love that because that completely reframes the entire problem. I mean, we usually think of relationships in terms of emotions or like morals, but you're suggesting we need to look at human interaction as a ruthless marketplace.
Exactly. And just like any marketplace, it operates entirely on the fundamental laws of supply and demand.
Right.
The most accurate lens to view human behavior through is really economics.
Hmm.
Consider the paradox of the diamond versus water.
Okay, break that down for me.
So water is absolutely essential for our survival, right? Our biology demands it. Yet in most of the world, it's incredibly cheap or even free.
Because it's everywhere.
Exactly. It's abundant. Now, look at a raw diamond. It serves absolutely no practical, life-saving utility. You can't eat it, you can't drink it, it can't shelter you.
Right, it just looks nice.
Yeah. But it is astronomically expensive because it's incredibly rare and difficult to extract. If you go through your life always smiling, always accommodating, always available to everyone, you're basically treating yourself like water.
Oh, wow. So you just become the air in the room. Like, essential, maybe, but completely ignored until you're suddenly gone.
Precisely.
It's kind of like a central bank printing too much fiat currency. Like, the more money in circulation, the less each individual dollar is actually worth.
That's a great way to put it.
If you print unlimited availability, your social inflation just skyrockets. But, society pushes the exact opposite narrative.
They really do.
We're fed this relentless myth that if you're just the good guy, like the ultimate reliable friend who drops everything to help, people will eventually recognize your good heart and reward you with respect.
Yeah, and that is the trap most people fall into. It fundamentally misunderstands our evolutionary psychology.
How so?
Well, human biology does not reward unconditional, unlimited access. When you offer your presence and your labor for free, the primal part of the human brain doesn't actually interpret that as generosity.
Wait, really? What does it see it as?
It flags it as a survival anomaly. Our brains subconsciously assume that if someone is, giving away their resources so easily, with zero requirement for mutual investment, those resources must be defective.
Ah, like there's a catch.
Exactly. Or worse, the brain assumes you're a low-status outcast, desperately trying to buy your way into the tribe because you literally have no other options.
So you just become the cheap option.
Yeah. And nobody fears losing what is cheap. To command respect, you really must become that diamond hidden deep within the earth.
Okay, so how do we actually execute that in the modern world? Because a lot of this seems to stem from what I kind of call the open door psychology.
Right, yeah.
Like most people live with their metaphorical front door kicked wide open. They let anyone walk in, take up their time, and essentially just leave trash on the floor.
It's so true.
In practical terms, it's the person who keeps their phone on loud and answers on the first ring every single time, whether they're working, eating, or sleeping.
Yeah, and the underlying mechanism there is a completely broken dopamine reward circuit. People answer instantly because they're addicted to the micro hit of validation that comes from being needed.
Right, like, oh, someone wants me.
Exactly. But immediate availability screams insecurity to the person on the other end. It tells them, my current reality is so unimportant that your random text takes total precedence.
Wow, That's brutal, but true.
If you want to build value, access to you must become a privilege, not a fundamental human right. When someone reaches out, you do not reply instantly. You let them wait.
But, okay, let me challenge that for a second. If we purposefully ignore people just to play games, aren't we just being manipulative? Doesn't that just frustrate the other person?
I get that.
Yeah.
But it's not about playing a shallow game. It's about genuinely valuing your own focus. And look at the psychological effect of that friction.
Okay.
In that gap of time, and that silence value is actually synthesized in their brain. While they are waiting, their brain is searching for a reason why you aren't responding.
Oh, I see.
They begin to imagine that you are busy, that you have a life full of purpose, that you're engaged in high-status activities that don't revolve around their validation. You are literally training their nervous system to view your attention as a limited resource.
Dispense strictly on your terms?
Exactly.
So you're shifting their cognitive load. While they're wondering what you're doing, they're actually investing mental energy into you.
Yes.
So we restrict access to our time, which builds curiosity. But, the moment we do grant access and open our mouths, we usually just ruin that mystique.
We really do.
We go from physical availability to verbal availability.
Right, and words are your secondary currency. If you speak too much, the value of your words drops drastically.
Total inflation.
Yeah. When you do speak, it should be an event. It should be deliberate. High-value individuals understand the immense power of being a blank canvas.
I want to push back on that a bit, especially given today's cultural climate.
Yeah.
We're constantly told that radical transparency and sharing our deepest fears is the ultimate way to build authentic connection.
Sure.
Aren't we just being emotionally unavailable or fake if we withhold information?
So there's a massive psychological difference between authentic vulnerability with a deeply trusted partner and emotional dumping on an acquaintance.
Yeah, right.
Sharing your deepest insecurities with people who haven't actually put in the time and effort to earn that level of intimacy isn't connection.
Yeah.
It's just a lack of boundaries.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You think you're bonding, but in reality, you're likely overwhelming them. Or worse, you're handing them psychological ammunition to use against you later. The concept of the blank canvas relies on human projection.
Meaning our brains just hate a vacuum, so we fill in the blanks ourselves.
Exactly. Consider how the brain processes mystery. When you withhold information and maintain a calm, quiet demeanor, you literally force others to project their own fantasies and insecurities onto you.
Oh, wow.
Because they can't easily figure you out, their brain naturally paints you as more intelligent, more dangerous, and more interesting than you might actually be. People cannot manipulate what they don't understand.
And they can't understand someone who just keeps their mouth shut.
Exactly.
Which honestly brings us to a highly volatile scenario where keeping your mouth shut is the hardest thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
Handling disrespect disguised as humor. I mean, we've all been in a group setting where someone takes a shot at you. A snide comment, a little jab, wrapped up in a laugh.
It's so common.
Usually people default to one of two reactions. They either awkwardly laugh along to keep the peace and show they're a good sport, or they get visibly upset, defensive, and try to argue back.
And both of those reactions are complete structural failures.
Because in both scenarios, you're stepping onto their battlefield. You're accepting the role of the target.
Precisely. If you laugh, you validate their disrespect and basically give them permission to escalate it next time.
Right.
But if you get angry, you show them they have the power to control your internal emotional state. And that is the ultimate surrender of power.
So what's the alternative?
The highest value response to a snide joke is deadpan dominance. Pure, unadulterated silence.
Okay, let's get into the mechanics of that. Because, wait, in theory that sounds dominant, but in reality, doesn't staring silently at someone at a dinner party just make you look socially inept or aggressive?
Only if you do it wrong.
How do you keep it from looking like a glitch in your programming?
It only looks like a glitch if you break eye contact first or if your face shows panic. The biological mechanism at play here is a localized cortisol spike. Here's the execution. You stop whatever you are doing. You turn your shoulders completely toward them.
Direct focus.
Yes, you look them directly in the eyes with a completely relaxed, zero-emotion expression. You hold that heavy, unbroken gaze for 4 full seconds.
Wow.
You don't smile. You don't scowl. You don't speak. You just let the silence in the room become suffocating.
I mean, 4 seconds in a dead silent room feels like an absolute eternity. The social pressure must be crushing.
It is crushing, and that is exactly the point. You are triggering a primal predator-prey response in their nervous system.
Oh, man.
By refusing to react, you're actively rejecting their gift of a joke. You're mirroring their disrespect with an impenetrable wall of indifference. And 9 times out of 10, their brain simply cannot handle the cognitive overload of that silence.
So what do?
They'll break eye contact, they'll stutter, or they'll nervously backtrack and say something like, "Hey, I was just joking."
They fold.
Exactly. You don't defeat a joke by laughing or fighting. You defeat it by starving it of oxygen. You assert total dominance and demonstrate that the price of disrespecting you is public humiliation, all without uttering a single syllable.
That is just a masterclass in behavioral conditioning. Okay, so we've established the defensive tactics.
Right.
We've stopped the bleeding of our time. We've controlled our words, and we've shut down disrespect. But, defense doesn't win the war.
No, it doesn't.
We need to transition to the offensive. We need to flip the social dynamic entirely so that instead of you chasing others, they're subconsciously wired to chase you.
Yes, and this requires shifting from the chaser to the prize.
Okay, break that down.
In every single human interaction, there is an unspoken power dynamic at play. One person is leaning in, trying to impress, qualifying themselves, and, seeking approval. That is the chaser.
Right.
The other person sits back, observes, and evaluates. That is the prize. For too long, the person watching this has likely been the chaser. You over-explain yourself. You dress to impress them. You speak to please them.
It's a complete inversion of the baseline mindset. You have to stop asking, do they like me? And start asking, do they actually meet my standards?
Exactly. To put this into practice structurally, you must stop over-delivering just to buy people's affection.
Yeah.
Stop being the one who always drives to their side of town, who always initiates the plans, who always texts first. You have to step back and let others invest their time and their favors in you. This utilizes a well-documented psychological phenomenon known as the Benjamin Franklin effect.
I am so fascinated by this because it basically sounds like the sunk cost fallacy applied to human affection.
That's exactly what it is.
Break down why the Benjamin Franklin effect actually rewires how someone feels about you.
So the mechanism here is cognitive dissonance.
Sure.
The Benjamin Franklin effect dictates that when someone does a favor for you or invests significant effort into you, their brain experiences a conflict.
Okay.
The brain thinks, I am expending valuable caloric energy and time on this person. Why? The brain cannot reconcile doing a favor for someone it does not respect. So to resolve the dissonance, the brain artificially synthesizes respect and affection.
Oh, wow. So it tricks itself.
Exactly. It rationalizes, I must really value and like this person, otherwise I wouldn't be going out of my way for them. People value what they have to work for. If you do 80% of the work in a relationship, you're literally depreciating your own asset. Let them invest in you.
That flips the traditional advice entirely on its head. I mean, we're usually taught that relationships are 50-50, but if we rush to do all the heavy lifting, we literally rob them of the opportunity to value us.
Yes, exactly.
And part of establishing yourself as the prize is utilizing what you call the velvet rope of no. Like, cheap people say yes to absolutely everything because their brains are hijacked by the fear of missing out, or they're just terrified of disappointing someone.
Right. And when you say yes to everything, your presence is completely diluted. It's a basic dopamine reward circuit. If a reward is always available, the brain stops releasing dopamine in anticipation of it. High-value people say no to almost everything. They protect their time ruthlessly.
Okay, so they create artificial scarcity.
Yes. Because of that scarcity, when they finally do say yes, it triggers a massive dopamine release in the other person. Your yes actually feels like an exclusive invitation past a velvet rope.
I love that. And, while we're talking about the words that diminish our value, we really have to address the sociolinguistics of submission.
Oh, definitely.
I'm talking about the apology reflex. It is a modern epidemic. People walk around constantly apologizing for taking up physical or auditory space. Sorry to bother you. Sorry I'm late. Sorry, can I just ask a question?
I see it all the time.
I've literally seen people apologize to inanimate objects when they bump into a table.
Yeah, and you have to understand how the brain categorizes language. Apologies are vocalized submissions. They lower your status in the primate hierarchy.
Wow, primate hierarchy.
It's true. Unless you have genuinely harmed someone or made a catastrophic error, you must surgically remove the word sorry from your daily vocabulary.
Right.
The exact script flip is to replace guilt with gratitude or replace submission with directness.
Okay, give us the real-world application of that. How do we rewrite those daily scripts?
So instead of rushing into a meeting and breathlessly saying, sorry, I'm late, which immediately frames you as a burden who has inconvenienced everyone,
Right.
you walk in calmly, look them in the eye, and say, thank you for waiting.
Oh, that's powerful.
You've just framed yourself as someone whose arrival was worth their patience. Instead of saying, sorry to bother you, you simply state, I have a quick question.
Language dictates reality?
Absolutely. When you eliminate unnecessary apologies, you signal to the subconscious minds of everyone around you that your existence is not a burden. High-value individuals move through the world with a commanding sense of purpose, not a lingering sense of guilt.
Okay, so we've layered the defensive tactics and the offensive framing. But here is the critical failure point for most people. You can employ all the deadpan 4-second stares, you can master the Benjamin Franklin effect, and you can script perfectly unapologetic phrases. But if you are secretly needy on the inside, people will smell it on you.
They will, every time.
True, undeniable value requires total emotional autonomy.
Neediness is the ultimate repellent. It is a behavioral pheromone that screams decay. And the human brain is an advanced pattern recognition machine.
So it picks up on it instantly.
Instantly. It detects neediness through micro-expressions, through the pitch of your voice, through how quickly you respond to a message.
And where does that neediness actually come from?
Neediness stems from an inner void, the terrifying, deeply held belief that you are simply not enough on your own. Because you feel empty, you require someone else's text message to regulate your nervous system.
Wow.
You literally need their invitation to feel like you exist. And the moment you require someone else's validation to feel complete, you hand them the remote control to your emotional state. You become their slave.
That is so well put. So the psychological antidote to that void is having a mission. Your purpose, whether that's building a business, mastering an art form, optimizing your physical health, or just advancing your career, has to be bigger than any interpersonal relationship.
It must be the blazing sun at the center of your solar system. Everything else, friends, romantic partners, colleagues, are just planets orbiting that sun.
Right.
When you are genuinely driven by a mission, people recognize that they are not the center of your universe. They realize that if they walk away today, your life is going to keep moving forward with extreme momentum, with or without them.
And that leads to the ultimate negotiation tactic in all of human interaction, doesn't it?
It does. The willingness to walk away.
That's the nuclear option. If you're afraid to lose someone, you have already lost them. You've basically surrendered your leverage before the negotiation even begins.
The person who needs the relationship the least hold absolute power. If someone consistently undervalues you, crosses your boundaries, or disrespects your time, you must be willing to cut them off cold turkey without a second glance.
No exceptions.
No exceptions. When people sense that you have a definitive line they cannot cross without losing access to you forever, they will instinctively police their own behavior to keep you in their lives.
And this ties directly into the myth of closure, doesn't it?
Oh, completely.
Because we see people agonizing over being ghosted or mistreated, begging for a final conversation. Why did you do this to me? Why didn't you call me back?
Right.
They think they are looking for information, but they're really just looking for another hit of attention.
Exactly. High-value people do not chase people for answers. The disrespect is the closure.
That's a mic drop right there.
It's the truth. The way they treated you is the only empirical data you will ever need. Chasing someone who disrespected you for an explanation is really just another form of begging for validation.
It signals that their opinion of you matters more than your opinion of yourself.
Precisely. You must learn to synthesize your own closure through absolute indifference.
Now, there is one massive environmental hurdle to all of this, which we can call the law of infection.
Okay.
It seems to me that it's biologically nearly impossible to maintain this autonomous, high-value mindset if the friends you surround yourself with are completely content with mediocrity.
Oh, without a doubt.
Like if your circle constantly gossips, complains, and tolerates disrespect, won't you eventually just regress to their baseline?
You are touching on evolutionary herd dynamics here. Mirror neurons in our brains literally wire us to adopt the behaviors, stress levels, and dopamine baselines of the people we spend the most time with.
So we literally become them.
You are the average of the environment you tolerate. If you surround yourself with cheap behavior, you will become cheap by association. You must ruthlessly curate your inner circle.
Even if it means being alone.
It is infinitely better to be a lone wolf, quietly working on your mission and building your value, than to be a sheep blindly following a cheap herd over a cliff.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Being alone is not a weakness. It demonstrates ultimate autonomy. It proves you don't need a pack to survive. Ultimately, your value in this world is not about what you have. It is entirely about what you tolerate.
What you tolerate, that is the fundamental algorithm. I mean, if you tolerate people being consistently late, you're actively teaching them your time is worthless.
Exactly.
If you tolerate being spoken to poorly, you're teaching them you have no spine. You are basically the architect of your own mistreatment.
You teach the world how to treat you by what you allow to continue. The moment you establish a severe penalty for bad behavior, and that penalty is the immediate and permanent withdrawal of your attention and presence, people will begin to walk on eggshells around you.
They will recognize the diamond.
Yes, they will.
This is just a heavy structural transformation of your personality. And bringing this out of theory and into the real world requires killing the part of you that instinctively begs for love and validation so that you can give birth to the part of you that effortlessly commands respect.
It's a rebirth.
It really is. And let's be brutally honest with you, watching this video right now. It is going to be lonely at first. When you stop texting first, your phone might go completely quiet.
It probably will.
When you set ironclad boundaries, people are going to drop out of your life because they can no longer exploit you. But that silence isn't emptiness. You're just clearing the brush, making room for higher value people to enter your ecosystem.
Exactly.
So I want you to look right at me and be honest with yourself. Which of these cheap behaviors are you currently guilty of? And honestly, more importantly, what is the very first thing you are going to do tomorrow to kill it?
Are you going to walk away?
Right. Will you stop replying instantly? Will you replace your apologies with gratitude? Will you finally deploy the nuclear option and walk away from that person who refuses to respect you? Let us know in the comments below. Write it down, make it public, and make it real. And if you want to continue mastering the depths of human nature with us on this cinematic journey, make sure you hit that subscribe button.
And, I will leave you with one final thought to carry with you into tomorrow. We talked earlier about the diamond and how its value is determined by its scarcity and the immense difficulty required to attain it.
Right.
If your personal value is ultimately determined by the disrespect you outright refuse to tolerate, ask yourself this. When you finally raise your price tag tomorrow, who in your life will suddenly not be able to afford you?